everyone. Welcome to the Crew3 podcast. So I was rocking with me as always are my co-hosts Chris and Ricky. Gentlemen, say hello.
Give him the salute.
Give him the salute. Man,
Ricky's gonna give him the caw. Ricky, where's your bird?
We're off to a blazing start this week because we got a lot to cover. Because we have 3 RCs to talk about, a very exciting Energy 5K, and then throw that all out the window into the mother garbage because we got a ban list.
Yeah, we do. Well, we don't have one yet.
Yeah, we should have had a ban list.
We know what's going on.
There will be one on Monday, and we got events to talk about. We'll go into use that to just kind of segue us into the not just ban list updates, potentially some unbannings as well. We'll give our opinions. I sent out a survey to the community at large. We got some responses there. So before we dive into it, Chris, I know you're a big baseball fan. I know you're a lover of one Shohei Ohtani.
Right. But, as we all are.
Before Shohei Ohtani, how did you feel Ichiro Suzuki?
Yeah, Ichiro's the hit king, right?
Yeah.
They won't give it to him because they're cowards. Because he played in the Japanese baseball league for too long, unfortunately. But
what if
Ricky's a Ichiro fan? He rooted for the Mariners when his familia lived in Alaska.
I did wear a Mariners shirt a lot.
Yep.
What if I told you Ichiro Suzuki played baseball this very weekend and threw a shutout game?
Yeah. Now was he playing against little girls by any chance?
He might have been playing against a team of high school girls. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. See, Japan's not afraid. They like showing off their powerful athletes. Like, we would never have a home run competition where we bring back Mark McGwire, give him back the steroids, and then have him fight against the Little League kids. We wouldn't do that in this country.
It's actual hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby.
Right.
Yeah, for those that don't know, every year Japan is very big into baseball. And the last few years they've been doing a thing where they have former professional players play like kind of a scrimmage game against a bunch of high school girls, trying to get them more interested in baseball.
Right.
And this year, Suzuki's been doing this for like the last couple of years now. Mm-hmm. This is like his 3rd year doing it. But this year he threw a shutout game with a total of 116 pitches. They're like, you hit your 80. And he's like, no. I'm finishing this out.
I've got this.
They're just high school girls. No. All gas.
Right.
Like 80 mile an hour power, like fastball.
Right.
What was great was one of the high school girls did strike him out, and they interviewed her, and she was like, "It was so inspiring. I'm going to keep playing baseball now."
Right. I'm shooting for the major leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I think
like if John Finkel just appeared at my F&M.
Yeah.
Right. And just shut everybody out, I'd be like, I'm inspired to play more Magic.
It'd be like if he showed up at like your local middle school's Magic the Gathering club, right?
Well, it's like he showed up at anybody's average commander group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the whole point was though, like this girl though beat him. Like you beat John Finkel in that match, in that game of Magic, right?
Great opportunity. I mean, like what do you say if he goes, not full force, as it were?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Like if then it's like, oh, he had to take it easy. So like he went there and he tried to hit, I guess, and got struck out by somebody who'll have a lifetime memory, right?
Yeah. He did though actually manage to hit this time. Apparently, the last 2 games he hasn't hit the ball. He didn't hit it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder how much he was trying to, but maybe.
Yeah. I mean, he's like 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Anyway, that's it for your weekly update on Ruckman found atomic bombs versus coughing babies. Let's talk about more atomic bombs versus coughing babies with Is It Phoenix versus Discover Combo.
Turns out, interacting with your opponent, will win the game.
All right, I'm gonna make Ricky wait. So we're gonna talk about the Canada 2 until the very end. We're gonna start off with the Energy series to go over this. We're just because I want to quickly highlight.
Of course.
A top 8 and a top 16 competitor. So
some
I want to shout out to
some legends of the game, if you will.
Some no-name schmuck named Darren Magnotti, a.k.a. Servo Token, who has not won a wrestling match in his life.
That's right.
Playing Marduk Griesfang in the top 16 here. And I tell you what, man, I look at this list now. Granted, Servo has since said that the sideboard and land base are kind of just thrown together based on what he had at the time.
The trade
But
binder.
the trade binder, yeah. But I think before the bans were announced, I was really interested in playing Mardu Grease Fang, I think.
Yeah. No, I think Darren was with you. I mean, obviously, this is like somebody that I feel like, I don't know what you'd say our relationship with Servo Token is, but it feels good. I mean, he was hanging out with us at Dreamhack, right? Like, this is somebody who feels, I feel like, near and dear.
Just waiting for Darren to make it Facebook official.
Near and dear to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that I didn't make the cut for his Dig Through Time podcast. I know that I was not chosen. There were many applicants, right? Many people wanted to be a part of that, and only so many people could make it. So I'm not, that's business. That's how it goes. I couldn't be on there. But you know what? Super exciting. This is super cool to see. Obviously, super proud of him. All that, Yeah.
And then, I made sure I retweeted it because everyone deserves to retweet this man. But shout out to Fire Shoes for a top 8 with Boros Heroic.
That's right.
Yeah.
I volunteered to be the person who officially does the retweets when Fire Shoes makes the top 8. I've been selected. I did win that war, so I am the official.
You immediately gave up because you realized this is way too much effort for.
No, just when he makes a top 8.
Oh, okay.
I'm not taking over his role. He retweets when everybody else makes a top 8. Somebody has to retweet when he makes a top 8. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So tag all his top 8s with @It's Christmas, and I'll retweet them.
Sure.
To my 1/10 of his follower count, just so that those people know.
Yeah. All I'm saying is I've got some Wild Growth Walkers signed by the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Oh, wow. Hold on to those. Those are going. Those are stonks.
I'm getting ready for my Amalia combo deck here. Now that it's going to be the best combo deck in Pioneer post Monday.
Fidna B.
Yeah.
Fidna B.
Oh, all right. Oh, that's it for the NRG. Let's talk about South America here, which was, of course, taken down by our Praiser combo, our top 8 here. This is going to be friggin' Goldfish or anyone. Melee, please give us good top 8 printouts. So
Brad says he's working on it.
Thank God, Brad.
Brad commented and said he's working on it.
They're doing it.
All right. So starting at this, I believe is the top 8 here. So we have Santiago Bigatti on Amalia Combo. We have Marcelo Lopez Lagos on Rakdos Sacrifice. Kristen Valenzuela on Azorius Control. Julio Bejarano Espejo on Azorius Lotus Field. Joaquin Fuentes on Mono White. Facundo Conde on Rona Luca, our top 2, Benjamin Vera, and then Guillote on our, 4-color Praiser? 4-color Praiser combo. So let's take a quick second. Let's talk about Appraisal. Let's talk about Amalia. So, that deck list is still trying to figure itself out. I mean, I like what they're doing here with this version of Appraiser. I like just including some Torrential Gearhulks just to give us another kind of way to, hey, if we don't hit the combo, we're putting good spells in our graveyard. Let's just cast the Magma Opus.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't get in the way of your Cascade, so, why not, right?
Yeah. It just gives you something else you can evolution into if you need to, get around some sort of effect or whatever,
Right.
So I definitely love that change.
This is playing the Connive Concoct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Playing this so we can, try to concoct one of our dinosaurs back.
Yeah. After we
discard
away. Yeah.
So that's kind of sick. I don't think Connive ever comes into play, but hey, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Elemental Masterpiece, we're just on.
Well, Connive is there just so we don't hit it off of
right.
Cover 5, yeah.
So this person played a total of 10 treasure spells.
Okay.
Which is kind of wild, right? At least Magma Opus, I mean, technically you can cast all of these, right, eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially all of these cards are basically just used for that bottom text to discard for a treasure.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a little wild, right? It's just we just want that turn 2 acceleration so badly that we're willing to play 10 cards that all they do is 2 mana instant speed make a treasure.
Make a treasure, yeah.
Which is kind of insane.
Yeah. So. And I mean, we could talk a little bit more about this when we get to the Matrix, but I mean, I was honestly kind of surprised to see that as the weekend went on, I think we kind of all assumed that Quintorius is going to be the more resilient version, but Quintorius got like stomped on hard. Do you think that was kind of attributed by open decklist, or do you think that decklist is actually just a little more flimsy than we thought? Whereas just the appraiser build just can kind of brute force a little harder.
I mean, Appraiser just goes off on turn 3, and
Yeah.
Quintorius goes off on turn 4.
And I think it's tricky because like a lot of the 2 damage spells that we play now hit planeswalkers also.
Sure.
So it's not like you've got to tick your Quintorius down usually. You can try and tick up. You might be dead at that point. So given that you know, again, if you go to 1 and you can discover, but if your Quintorius gets killed in response, you can't copy that, right? So I do think that the turn 3 threat, like some people just be like, oh, you know, maybe they won't have it, right? And it comes down, again, a little more unexpected. But yeah, I do think obviously this deck list is a lot worse with open deck lists where, you know, I just have to mulligan to a piece of 1 mana interaction and then that'll probably get me there, you know?
Yeah.
So who on their bingo card had RC won by a deck that plays 4 temples,
right,
a Port of Carfell, and a Crystal Grotto, unironically?
Not on my bingo card.
No.
I don't think it was on anybody's bingo card. Absolutely wild. And like, they're not wrong. Like, you just want the Scry ones, like, because you just need to find Appraiser or Carnosaur or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I caused an absolute panic in my opponent's eyes on Arena, where we got the big gnome boy back with our God Pharaoh's gift, and our opponent just started hitting buttons. Like, they were just like, I don't know what this does. It's
Press
scary.
button.
It's coming into play. It's got triggers. What does it do? So they just bedeviled my big gnome robot.
And then you just got it back on the next turn?
Well, no, it made it a 10-4. It didn't even kill it. It's a 7-7. I think they thought, oh, it's a 3-3. They were like, oh, it comes into play.
Okay,
I think their thought was like, oh, it's going to come into play as like a 3-3 because it comes into third. But no, unfortunately, God Pharaoh's gift makes it a base power 4-4. So
yeah.
I also didn't realize that the trigger is relative only to its power. So they bedeviled it to make it a 10. I attacked them for 10 damage, and then they made me 10 1/1 tokens instead of 7. Yeah. So opponent comboed off next turn and still could not kill me because I had 20 from the enter the battlefield trigger, because I did it with trigger on the stack. So I got 10 when it came into play, and 10 when it attacked. And even if I hadn't, I would have had enough tokens to block and survive. But it definitely helped me ensure the win, I suppose. Yeah. So that was a fun
one. And then I want to look at quickly the Amalia combo list here. So we're on 4 Synod Scout, 4 Gilded Goose, 4 Lunarch Veteran, 1 Self the Savior, 4 Amalia, 2 Dina Soul Steeper, 4 Prosperous Keeper, 4 Wild Growth Walker, 4 Turn Rings, 4 Quarter Calling, 4 Collected Company. So we're on the full 12 package here to combo. So either we've got some backup, we got Return to the Ranks here to sort of rebuild after we blow the world up. I mean, which is fine because then Amalia just keeps getting infinitely bigger because she's already triggered, right? Yep. So
this deck's very resilient to hate, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, this is definitely a deck that I'm looking to pick up some pieces for once Discover assumedly goes away.
Yeah. I think it's more than assumedly, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I like to see this deck is still, you know, when this was happening, I think like I was all in on Amalia because it was just like, this is going to be the fun combo, right? Yeah. Like, and I'm excited to see this deck still getting results. Actually, I think this deck, this is something that I think is an example of a combo that like can live in Pioneer. If we're going to talk when we talk about that here again in just a few minutes, I'm going to keep dangling that. I want your listen minutes. You know, I got our Spotify wrap now. I need to get more minutes of your time.
That's right. That's right.
All right, let's move on.
We're not going to talk about like the other decks here.
Heck no.
I mean, which list do you want to talk about specifically?
I mean, it's been a while since I've seen Rakdos Sacrifice.
Okay, we know Rakdos Sacrifice.
I just wanted to check it real quick. I didn't look. I had not pre-looked, but there's been some stuff going around with like Bitter Triumph, some Tarian's Journal. I'm just looking here.
No, we're just mainboarding Meathook Massacre.
Okay, we're playing Roiling Vortex in the sideboard.
Yeah, that's turns out that's pretty good against Discover.
Right. That explains why we've made it this far, right?
Yeah.
Main deck Meathook Massacre, also insane.
Gotta beat Convoke.
Yeah, no, this deck is it's interesting. I just haven't seen this deck in a long time. You know what I mean?
It's been bumming around.
Has it?
It has been actually. It top eighted some stuff the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I've definitely seen this deck around, but we did lose you for 1 week. So.
Yeah, it's okay. I know when you're on the show, Ricky just doesn't care in the world. All he thinks of is
Phoenix. I've been in Phoenix.
when Ricky's not here, all he thinks of is Phoenix, Phoenix.
He's being a bird boy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He's flying around.
Yeah.
He's too high in the sky to see what we're doing down here.
I gotta plan flights to Dreamhack. I gotta figure out how to play in the RC.
Right.
I'm just swimming in these qualifications.
Right.
You know?
He's too high above us. He can't see down here, you know?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Japanese top 8 here. This one I do have. Thank you, PlayMTG Twitter, for giving me a nice graphic to follow. Do this for all of your events, please. So our bottom 8 here, we have Murahito Nakao on Appraiser. We have Takumi Matsura on Rakdos Midrange. We have Soichi Hasegawa on Boros Convoke. We have Yuta Yokokawa on Azorius Lotus Field. Our top 4, we have Wu Jin Seong on Ronaluka. Then we have Kataru Chiku on Boros Convoke. And our finals is Yuya Hasokawa on Azorius Control versus our eventual winner, Kenta Masakato on Jund Transmogrify. Let's take a quick look at what's up.
There's no way. What did you just say? What is that deck you just talked about there?
I said Jund Transmogrify.
Jund Transmogrify, the man said. Winning, huh?
Yeah.
Powerful.
All right, take a look at this deck list here. We have 1 Gigantha the Wellspring, 2 Atraxa Grand Unifier, 2 Karn the Great Creator.
Uh-oh. Big wins.
1 Duress, 1 Fatal Push, 4 Thoughtseize, 3 Torch the Tower, 1 Bitter Triumph, 2 Go for the Throat, 4 Transmogrify, 3 Courier's Briefcase, 1 Record of Bank Buster, 3 Asika's Chariot, 4 Careful Cultivation, 4 Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Yeah,
Twin Shot Sniper in the sideboard.
Yeah.
When do you bring that in? Like you need it for like a Appraiser combo or something? But like
you can tutor up with Karn, right, and kill Appraiser.
Oh, you can tutor with Karn. It never actually goes in your deck.
It's an artifact.
That's right. Sorry, Karn.
Yeah.
For now. You know what I'm saying? For now.
I love that our win cons are literally just like, yeah, I guess we could have it a Chariot, but these 2 Atraxas are going to carry us there. And hey, you know what? I can't talk mess because it did.
Yeah, I will tell you that like Convoke can kill an Atraxa.
Yeah.
Heroic does not currently have a way to kill Atraxa, at least main board, right? And again, especially where we're playing Thoughtseize in Duress, you know? Void Winnower stops.
Yeah, Void Winnower just stops Discover.
Yeah.
They can't even.
Yeah. That's good. I like that.
I mean, also just like 3 Torch the Tower.
Yeah.
Stops Discover dead in their tracks. Like, you know, Bitter Triumph, go for the Throat. Literally just untapped lands will stop your opponent.
Yeah. But Ricky, Pioneer players don't want to do that. They just want to go.
Modern players don't want to do that. Pioneer players have learned. The modern players,
though?
Probably not.
It's very telling that this went up against Control in the finals and handled business, you know?
Yeah.
Because, again, we have a lot of discard effects here. And, Control can be great, but as soon as you face a couple Thoughtseizes, you are in some trouble. And
3 Go-Blinks?
Yeah, 3 Go-Blinks in the board, right? You don't want to get those Narcissus Reversal, that's for sure. But definitely is the case where you clear out something like that with an initial Thoughtseize, right, early because their land's going to play tapped. Then you're free to go blank because you just take the 2-for-1s against Control, and then as hard as it can be, you will get to resolve your 4-mana dumpy sorcery spell and go get your draw 4 spell. So unfortunately, there's a lot of removal, right? You probably can't take all the counter spells and all the removal, but again, you're generally speaking setting up with your first Atraxa, you're setting up your second combo. Yeah. 2 Atraxa seems a little bit light to me. But maybe you side in the Void Winnower and name even to get what you get Wrath, you get Farewell, you get Lost.
These Mirrex tokens are going to carry us.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty fun list to win here, though.
12th
Yeah,
place.
this is a dope one.
12th place, we had a pretty sick mono red deck.
Oh yeah, is this the one with 4 mainboard Roily Vortex?
4 mainboard Roily Vortex. 4 Eidolon of the Great Revel. Like let's get out here, right? You know?
And why aren't we? If we're gonna play Roily Vortex, why don't we just play that new the new dinosaur that just says you didn't pay for your spells take damage?
Well, because that's only if you don't pay for your spells on my turn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this person came to play. You know?
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm gonna be kind of sad with when Discover gets the axe, because I've been loving to hearing people talk about, like, in my local groups, talk about, like, does anyone have these cards? They kill the Discover decks. Like, people are like, does anyone have Red Cat Melee? It kills both versions of Discover. Like, I love people digging through the sideboard, digging for the sideboard cards again.
Yep. Yeah, I think let's save that. We're probably rolling right into ban philosophy, and that's going to be the bulk of the show. There's so much to talk about here because there's a lot of crazy people on Twitter. There's a lot of people be wild in. I'll say that because I don't think that they're dumb. I just think that everybody's got their own take on the format, and so I'm all about it. But there's definitely some takes that I think are out there.
Is it the Civic Giant in the room?
No. This is the thing. I actually liked that conversation because I thought that it was thought provoking. I think a lot of these band conversations are actually very thought provoking, so they're good.
Okay.
But I will tell you that I have not. Everybody's been making the unbanned tier lists, kind of like we did.
These unbanned tier lists are so wild.
We're not there yet. We're not there
out
yet.
Of control. They're out. I haven't seen a single one yet where I'm like, oh, it makes sense to me. I haven't even seen a single one where I'm like, well, I disagree with that one, but the rest of these are okay. Yeah. Every single tier is like totally off to me. Like some of the like, this is a safe card. I'm like, you have to be out of your mind. Some of the ones they're like, oh, this has to be crazy. You know?
Yeah, I mean, look, you want to go into it? I mean, I think we're done with events. I don't think there's anything.
Let's go.
I think
the event. There's nothing else to talk about here. Done. There's no other.
Hold on. Is that? Do I hear something?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, we would be remiss to skip over the face-to-face Canada 2.
Best. I'm a Canadian now. I applied for citizenship. They let me in.
Let's look at this top 8. Oh wait. 5 out of the 8 is Phoenix.
Land of the free, baby. Land of the free. Over the Whopper.
I appreciate for them. I once again, thank you for telling me, putting the picture of your top 4, but not telling me who the players are. Just telling me that they're all in Phoenix.
They're all Phoenix, right?
They're all Phoenix, right? So our top 8, of course, is going to be. This is on non-set order. We'll say who wins.
We know who won, right?
We know who won. Yeah. So I just don't know who are the other 3 Phoenix players that made top 4.
Sure.
So we have Kyle Gellert on Rakdos mid-range. We have Larry Bazane on our Appraiser combo. We have Jean-Philippe Goyette on Appraiser combo. Then we have Simon Carice on Is It Phoenix. We have Edgar Malagis on Is It Phoenix. We have Ryan Primdahl on Is It Phoenix. We have Max Dorr on Is It Phoenix. And your winner is Hafam on Grixis Phoenix. So Ricky,
it's Demir Phoenix.
Functionally,
it has it's Phoenix red.
They are playing Steam Vents.
It has 2 Steam Vents in case you get absolutely ranched and
in case of emergency. Yeah.
But this is Demir Phoenix. It is anti-Phoenix. Phoenix.
Break it down for us, Ricky. What's this deck list?
This deck is 4 Ledger Shredder, 4 Picklock Prankster, 4 Arclight Phoenix, 2 Shieldred the Apocalypse, 1 Cling to Dust, 4 Consider, 4 Fatal Push, 3 Opt, 3 Sleight of Hand, 4 Thoughts.
Does that hurt? Does that leave a weird taste in your mouth to say?
No, actually, I've been wanting to cut down to 3 Sleight of Hand, actually.
Okay, all right.
4 Thoughtseize, 4 Bitter Triumph, 4 Treasure Cruise, and 19 lands that we're now playing Hive of the Eye Tyrant. We're playing Clear Pathways, Dark Slick Shores, 1 Shipwreck Marsh, Odawara, Watery Graves, and why not 2 Steam Vents?
Is there a modal you would have played in this deck list?
A modal?
A Jwari Disruption?
Like a Jwari Disruption, or...
So we're not playing pieces of the puzzle.
Okay.
So it makes those cards a little worse, right?
Ah, okay,
You're
sure.
playing
Because,
Quick Luck Prankster.
yeah, well, we're not playing pieces of the puzzle, which means like we can't. Oh yeah, you're playing pick luck. You can still grab them off that, but
Yeah. But you can't grab two, and I do think that's one thing about pieces. It grabbing you two means you could
get a
grab
land.
a
Yeah,
right. You could grab one and then your treasure cruise, right?
that
So
and like
I do understand that.
Spike Field Hazard is like phenomenally better than Jawari Disruption, and I've been playing Jawari Disruption lately just because of Appraiser combo.
Yep.
Because you just get them because they try to be greedy and go off, and you just counter spell for 1 mana. Anyways, we're playing like The End, which is a hoser for Phoenix. Playing Ritualist Soot Extinction Event,
Cling
Saheeli
to Dust.
Skill. We're playing the one to Clean to Dust main. You know, we've got Narcissus Reversal and 2 go blanks of our own. Dark Betrayal for like cleaning up the Rakdos deck, like killing other Shieldrids and the stupid demon. I'm very upset with that demon in my testing right now.
Which demon?
The one that you lose in 4 turns.
Oh, yeah. That one.
He's just big.
He's pretty big.
Dark Betrayal also hits Atraxa.
It does hit Atraxa.
It hits some certain Fangy boys, certain rat ninjas.
Yep.
You know? So
not a bad card. I like Dark Betrayal. I was thinking about why nobody plays this card, but
there's a lot of hate cards, I think, that like Red Can Melee.
Like we're just so ahead in the geological combo like matchup, right?
Yeah.
We're now just hedging against other Phoenix decks.
Other Phoenix, sure.
Also are so ahead in the geological combo deck.
Yeah.
So I do think, unfortunately, in Atlanta I will be on some form of Phoenix, but I will say that unfortunately I don't think
train is
the gravy train of Phoenix is over. Canada got the last serving. We're gonna have to work hard for our Phoenix wins.
They need all that gravy for their poutine.
Right, that makes sense, you know. So I love this Phoenix deck. I like all the other Phoenix decks because nobody in the top 4 is playing otherworldly games. No, wait, one person is, but I think this is the person that did not make top 4.
Oh, well, if we confirm that.
I don't know if we can confirm that, but I remember when I was looking at this on Twitter, I remember seeing no otherworldly gazes, but I could have just been blinded by the birds, you know?
Yeah. Someone was playing Prismari Command.
Hot, you know?
Yeah.
It destroys an artifact, so at the end of the day, it's not bad.
Sure. We're desperate to blow up treasure tokens now, right?
We're desperate to blow up anything. There's so many artifacts right now running around.
Yeah, true. All right, Ricky, well, do you feel like you've got enough Phoenix talk in?
I've got more to talk about when we get to the bannings and stuff like that, but I think that Phoenix is what a deck, you know?
Yeah.
What a fun time to play the world's greatest format, Pioneer. It seems like a very, you know, crazy out of nowhere deck with the, you know, geological appraiser deck.
Mm-hmm.
What a fun, balanced format. Like Mono Green's not doing well. We've got lots of events running with lots of different decks winning.
Yeah.
I think like it would be wild to throw a ban in right now.
Would it? Well, I mean, let's talk about it then. So obviously, earlier this week, actually yesterday, there was the weekly Magic stream, which next week will be Karlov spoilers.
No, it won't.
It will.
I know it's next week is actually the Ravnica Remastered.
I thought it was Karlov previews as well. You might be right. It might be Ravnica.
It might be both, but I know for sure that Ravnica Remastered spoilers are starting next week.
Anyway, so of course this week they decided, hey, let's sit down and talk about ban philosophy because Monday is going to be our announcement. We knew it was coming up. We didn't know quite what it is. Kind of sussed out that it was going to be next Monday because their whole thing was like 3 Mondays after the last set release. We will have our BNR. They've now since changed that, and we'll talk about that here in a second as well. Some kind of notes because I got to watch the stream. Chris watched the stream. Yep. Ricky, did you get a chance to watch the VOD? Yeah,
I watched it. Yeah,
I want to say real quick, huge shout out to Kevman because Kevman was the one who posted it that I saw it.
Yes,
I was just like he just posted it. I was like, oh, let me click on this because they're talking about BNR philosophies, and then
it was they could kind of announce these things earlier. I would have because honestly, had I known that stream would have happened. I was working from home on Tuesday. I was going to simul stream it.
Yeah, the simul stream. Yeah, we really there's so much content now. Again, at the beginning though, who was to say it was going to happen? I thought it was just going to be a philosophy stream, and like within minutes, Blake goes into we're going to talk about changes that are going to happen. Changes are happening. They're coming. We're going to talk about them. And I
say,
screamed.
Dan Meeson, one of the most, if not the most competent person on these streams they've had in a long time.
Overall, by the way, this was brilliant.
Yes.
I love that Blake was the one who was like, I'm such a Chad. I'm just going to lie to everybody and say that I'm the one who messed up the schedule for the last month.
So I have notes real quick to kind of summarize the stream, and then we can kind of go into breaking it down. That is one of my notes, is that September 8th is that they just go, yeah, about the September 8th thing. I messed up. That was on me. I misread the calendar. And I'm like, Blake, the BNR before that, you say this is when the next announcement's going to be. So
right. Yeah, but I will tell you that that's what a baller does. Like somebody who's like that, who's like, hey, listen, this is just an honest mistake. Crucify if you want. Nobody's gonna, by the way. Everybody's gonna go,
is that what a baller does? Or is that what your boss says when he says, here's the sword, fall on it?
Yeah, well, maybe. I think he volunteered. I think that they looked bad, and I think he was just like, I can solve this easy. I'll just say it was my bad. Like I really do. I genuinely, it was the confidence of somebody who's done that kind of work before. I've done that at work where I'm just like, oh, hey, it was me. Sorry.
Yeah.
And people are just like, oh, no worries. And same thing. I don't care because the announcement was so good, right? Saying, hey, you guys did not like that. We heard, trust me, we heard you. And we're going to change things going forward. So I'll leave it there. We can go into the thing about it. But I just wanted to say huge ups because although we'll talk a lot about the announcement, I loved the structure of the announcement. I love we're getting more of these.
Yeah. So real quick, kind of the summation of it all. March 11th is also going to be the next one. That is going to be, so they've said that going forward, instead of being a set 3 weeks after, now it is going to be a kind of, they will give it 2 to 5 weeks after a set comes out before they make an announcement. And they've essentially said that by doing it on March 11th, then it's kind of out of the way of interacting with the Pro Tours for that. So it's kind of out of the way of a lot of stuff. So March 11th is our next BNR announcement. One of the big things I do want to point out is they said Pioneer's not on Arena. So they want more large events like things like the Pro Tour to happen before they take action on a format. And I think like that is 100% cool. I understand like you can get all the league data you want, but clearly open deck list and big events like that do give you extra data, give you different data. I think that's something that's good to hear them. And I also appreciate challenges. Yes, they're important, but let's see what happens when push comes to shove at the real events that like everyone's working up to. Right. One of their goals for the ban list is that for all formats is that they're fun, playable, and a good amount of sets. They've said that Pioneer is the largest format that gets cards for standard pipeline. So it's an interesting position when you compare it to Modern, who can directly inject cards into it through Horizon sets. And then you also have Standard, which, while a large rotation, will rotate out at some point. This was the admission I really appreciated, and that they haven't gotten back to a standard maintenance point that Pioneer requires versus other formats because of that lack of rotation, direct injection. It's really saying that, like, after they had the 1 week ban list, they said they felt like they were really good at maintaining Pioneer, and then COVID happened and they lost control, and they haven't really gotten back to a point where they felt like they were doing enough to actively maintain and help guide Pioneer. That was true. That was the admission I really appreciated, because when you think about it, right, during COVID, like we went so many months before we had like Inverter banned, and then we had more months before it took Uro to get banned.
Yes.
And then just like so long goes without them doing anything. So having this cycle of, I think Pioneer out of any format is going to see the most impact out of these kind of quarterly ban list updates that we get every year. Standard's obviously going to get from the yearly. I assume Pioneer's going to get mostly from the quarterly, and Modern is kind of going to be just as they see. Now, one thing that I think did kind of bother me a little bit is their whole like I had a note on this. When they said, we know what's coming in the pipeline so we can better predict how things are going to go as opposed to the community. And this is another thing where I think where Dan then replied and said, well, sometimes we're good at predicting things. And once again, this is why like Dan was the real one. To me, Dan was the real one on this stream, because I do like this. As soon as they said, we're good at predicting things because we know what's happening. And I like we've been wrong, because let's be real. clearly they have been wrong, especially when we talk about things like Discover. Clearly, their fixed cascade isn't as fixed as we would have hoped with certain things.
Yeah.
Maggie's trying
I
to
think huge notes there on the cadence of the ban list, right?
Mhm.
I do think that formats like Modern, unfortunately, the cards are a lot more expensive. It's a lot more feels bad when your cards get banned, right?
Mhm.
But the power level of the card seems a lot higher. Also, same thing with like a Legacy or something like that. Pioneer, I think you can make more frequent bans just based on the price of the cards not being as big of a deal, right? Like Quintorius is, maybe the rare that's getting hit, maybe,
Sure.
as well as a Chrome that's like $10-15. So like it definitely sucks, right? Like my Walking Ballistas, I think, were one of the more expensive cards I've lost, but
Yeah.
I much preferred the up tempo cadence, especially because it felt like they were listening to the community, right? Like when Teferi finally got banned, it was like, man, Teferi's not the top card in Pioneer. It is just not in line with the Pioneer philosophy.
Yeah.
Right? Like the way they made turn 3 Planeswalkers way worse. As a result, that was like by far the strongest one in its top thing. So that's kind of one of those cards in one of the bands that I look at. I'm like, wow, you guys, you pay attention, right?
Yeah.
And I think the bands that we think are coming indicate they're paying attention. But I think we would all agree that those first couple months were amazing for Pioneer. Like we all felt great about Pioneer, right? Right before COVID. And, they definitely lost that a little bit. But, we've had some good bands. I think it was the lack of bands previously we were mostly upset about. The lack of action on Pioneer coming to Arena, that kind of thing was frustrating. But the overall action has been very positive, and it looks like it's going to go back to being something incredible.
The other thing, too, I think is important to note, they also did mention that to clarify, win rate and play rate do matter to them when they're considering what's going to be banned. So that's good to see there. So some other things they said about Pioneer, specifically, and I mean, this is going to lead into actually, hold on. Before we cover some of their hints at what's going to happen, right? I do want to mention that Chris is one of several people who asked and answered a question on whether or not they want to do a watch list. And I think that's also very interesting because also, I do want to say also, like, yes, you have a good point in that Pioneer is cheaper. Like if your deck gets, like, if you have bans, right? Like your mana base is still playable in a lot of cases. Like there are a lot of good crossover cards, but I don't want to downplay the fact that, like, not everyone's financial situation is the same, right?
Of course, right? Bans suck. I'm not trying to tell you that it's nothing, right? I'm just saying that I think it's a format that if you're going to take a lot of action to try and mess with things, I'm about it, And like you said, that was almost, I'll be honest, that question was really a Ruckman question because you're the one who was like, man, I really like the way that Grand Archive does these bans.
Yeah.
And their response was, well, like, why would we talk, if we were talking about, potentially banning a thing, then nobody's going to play it. I was like, well, I'm not sure that that's true necessarily, but I will say that this kind of event and their response was kind of an answer to the question that, like, well, they're going to talk about some of their reasonings anyway.
Yeah.
So like that was kind of an answer to the question because they didn't answer it. They were just like, oh,
And I think as well, I would have been less hounding on a watch list had they given us a BNR that actually explained anything that one time, right? Because I also recognize that with Grand Archive as a newer game, when they have a watch list, right, there's not a lot of choices on, you still have to play those cards because there's not a lot of other options because the card pool is so small, right? So,
but I put that question in the chat before they got into anything.
Yes.
So I do feel like it was a fair question given that they hadn't given us all the revelations that they were about to.
Yeah, and I mean, I do appreciate because they also said, like, they do try to mention cards that they just say, like, these are cards we're aware of, these are cards. And that has happened in the past, right? But they don't like to have a hard and set ban watch list because I do think they also brought the good point of what happens then if you ban a card not on the watch list, or like what happens if you do, like what happens if you ban a card not on the watch list, right? Like
I hear you.
What's the reaction to that?
And that's fair. I will tell you that I think everybody's an adult, and I do feel like
I don't agree with that statement.
Yeah.
No. Listen, but listen. Like, here's the deal, right? Like, okay, a card gets released that's not on the watch list, right? Or like the reason they're banning something that's not on the watch list is because something drastic has changed, and that is going to be obvious to everybody. Like, if they came out tomorrow and they were like, "We're banning Birds of Paradise," we would look at them as the idiots, whether or not they had Birds of Paradise on a watch list or not. right? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, the idea is that, like, if you ban something not on a watch list, it's because it's something changed very quickly, and I think that's understandable, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but I think you expect people to be reasonable adults, and people are not reasonable adults, especially when we're talking about like a Twitch chat.
I will say that I feel like the reaction to this event has been overwhelmingly positive, and it gives me way more faith. Like, I understand, like, the Twitter idiots, right? Like, we've experienced our fair share in the last 24 hours, right? But I do think that in general, people like communication, whether it's positive or negative.
Sure.
People are adults;
100%.
they can handle it, and this kind of thing showed, especially the reaction showed that other than people being upset that they didn't just make the announcement now, which I think is fine. A fine thing
That's
to be
me.
upset
I think that they needed to make the announcement.
I think that's
Yeah.
fine, but I think that's a fine one to be annoyed about. Like, I totally think that's fine to be annoyed about. I think other than that, though, this announcement was handled incredibly well, and the
Yeah.
one where they said, "Hey, no changes, let's advertise our booster packs," was handled incredibly poorly, right? And it made sense, right? Like, so I don't know. I do feel like that people are just more or less average and going to react to things in a way that makes sense
All right.
most of the time. There are going to be outliers, but
So let's talk about then the hints we got to Monday's announcement. Again, these aren't things that are set in stone. These are kind of heavy-handed hints at.
very heavy.
That's what I hate the most about this, actually. Like, I
Yeah.
really, like, it's unbelievably frustrating to
Let's
me
clear the article's written. The article's definitely been written.
Yeah.
that, like, they can't just come out. I'm sick and tired of the, like, I'm announcing that next
Sure.
week there will be an announcement, you know?
Yeah. And I agree. It's not like there's an RC. It's not like US RCs are this weekend, right? Where it is kind of annoying that
There's, like, no RCs this weekend.
that's what I'm saying, right? Like, it'd be different if they were like, and ban list goes out now, right? So you could have still posted now and said it takes effect on Monday. You could have said it takes effect now. It wouldn't have mattered, right? We just now have a lame duck format for like a week, and it's kind of just watching and waiting, and everyone losing time from their playtesting for the American RC.
Rick,
Like,
you make your point, because I want to play devil's advocate a little bit.
okay, like, the thing is that I've been doing quite a bit of testing for the RC, right? Testing and, like, trying to get my, like, list down and what I want to play and stuff like that. And I'm getting, not that it's all about me, right? But I don't have as much time to test as, like, people who are, going to have more time to test, right?
Sure.
So I've been going and testing, like, on my days after work and stuff like that, and trying to kind of figure out the deck. And I feel like by making this announcement, telling me that we're pretty sure that these cards are going to be banned, but you're going to have to wait and, like, just do nothing until it's too late, right?
I mean, Fireshoes also brought up a good point of just like, if they're unbanning something, what if people need to get cards?
Right, exactly. Like, you just have to blindly guess with, like, prices just surging on random cards, and, like, listen to absolute nonsense Twitter mobs, and then, like, ultimately we could legitimately see Monday, like, Karn, Fable, like, banned, like, Karn fan, like, Fable Appraiser banned, but, like, not go into effect until after the RC, right?
No, they're going to all take effect now.
That could happen. Like, it could happen. Like, we could also just see, like, suddenly they're just like, we've lost our minds, and, like, we've unbanned, like, 2 or 3 cards off the ban list. And, like, now the entire format has, like, completely changed from where it was. Like, not only are we banning cards, but we're unbanning cards. And that's what they were hinting at doing, is both banning cards and unbanning cards at the same time, which is going to be, like, just, like, please just give me the time to even just buy cards.
Yeah.
Let alone test.
Specifically what they said was, when looking at banning things, right, they said turn 3 kills and having your opponent tutor the perfect sideboard card
out of green decks
feels really bad.
Yeah. The important thing was not just tutoring your sideboard card like they're going to ban Fave Wishes. He said tutoring the card out of the green deck, which I feel like is a little more specific, but what we were talking about anyway.
No, for sure, right?
On the topic of the announcement, real quick, go ahead. I just want to say that I get what you're saying. I don't know that there's I think the problem that they had is that before they weren't being communicative enough, and this was a thing to say, hey, listen, we are changing, They probably could have just done the bans live on stream, but they don't usually do that, right? They have an article and they post it. But I don't think I've ever seen them do like we're live streaming the bands, and so I think that this was a reaction to, hey, last time we just said nothing, did nothing, and made an advertisement, and people weren't happy about that. So this was hey, I know this is like maybe a little over communicating, telling you that we're gonna make changes, but just so you understand our philosophy and what we're gonna be doing going forward, and you can ask us questions instead of just reading the article. Right,
the daily MTG stream is every Tuesday, right? Like that is their time to use that is their set marketing time to use this kind of thing. Like being in a corporate environment, like you have those schedules. It's kind of hard to change those schedules. Could they have done it on a different day, right? Could they have done it just alongside the BNR next Monday? Yes, but
well, I mean, just saying, like I think that literally hinting at the changes they're going to make might honestly be worse than just saying, hey, there's going to be a band announcement, like we are going to make changes, right?
I think it's worse for Ricky, the competitive Magic player.
Sure.
I think it's way better for Ricky, the content creator. I think this is way cooler of more stuff to talk about as far as
depends on what content creator you talk to, because a lot of people are also complaining just like, why can't make content on the format now because the deck doesn't matter in a week.
Also true. Like this thing is like and it just, I just don't like how they've done this kind of thing. It's just sort of, why not? Like you waited this long and you already decided to take no action on the format before, right?
Yeah.
And like personally, in my opinion, I understand that for the long-term health of the format, Geological Appraiser deck probably not healthy, but for right now, that's what it is. And like waiting to the end of the RC season would be nice.
So I will say, I think another reason why they did nothing the last time is Wildsville Drain really didn't do a whole lot.
No, for sure.
And I feel like
it didn't create the Geological Appraiser deck, right?
It didn't, and I feel like while yes, Karn is a card we've been wanting gone for a while, if it is gone on Monday, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's not a card.
It's gone. That's the thing. Is like that's what we're doing.
Okay. But again, can I finish my point here? Karn isn't the kind of card I feel like they're just going to ban on its own. I feel like Karn is a card where they say, we really don't like this, but it's kind of okay. And I feel like having other cards go on along with it makes ripping that Band-Aid off a lot easier for people making decisions.
I hear what you're saying, right? And I don't think that like there's no reason to not ban Geological Appraiser, right? The thing is just like, I don't trust WotC. Just period. Like full stop. I feel like they've done a lot to just sort of like neglect Pioneer. So to like suddenly hear like, hey, we want to spend a lot of time and attention on Pioneer, that sounds really great, but like the timing here is kind of frustrating to me.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a difference between not trusting them and wanting to give them a chance. And I want to give them a chance.
Sure.
I think this announcement, I'm with Chris, I think this announcement did a lot. Could they have left out the really heavy-handed hints on what was getting banned and just have said there will be action on Monday? Sure. But I feel like that would have just caused even more rampant speculation.
Right. I think the actual like best answer is just announce the bans.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like
I will tell you that
you can still hold on tight and keep people sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for Monday, so that way on Monday you can direct all these people to the website so they can also see the new advertisement for like Super Galaxy boosters coming in like Markov Manor or whatever.
I'm ready for some Super Galaxy.
Yeah, what can I get in the Super Galaxy boosters?
Oh man, a house.
How much do they cost?
Have you seen the
divorce ads? Yeah, I love
it. Come on, the house.
Custody the kids. That's a foil Mustang. People don't get the foil. We got the foil.
I understand Ricky's apprehension because, as we've said before, right? Like, we are not fans of the current state of Modern or even the previous state of Modern, particularly after Modern Horizons 2 is the big one, right? Modern Horizons 1 was Hogak, right? So, like, a lot of stuff there. But, again, a lot of that stuff feels like they can only put so much attention out, right? So much is going more to the corporate side that we are much happier with standard cards being in Pioneer than those direct injections. And obviously we've felt like Modern has been very, very mismanaged.
Yeah.
And Pioneer has, and especially with the mistrust around them talking about, oh, we're putting Pioneer in Arena. Just kidding. But maybe now it is. But I still hold on to that. Man, the first couple months of Pioneer were really, really good. The ban list was very curated. I think it was well curated. I still have faith just because, again, we see some of those cards that weren't, 80% win rate decks, but were still unfun, as they said, right? They mostly talked about fun, by the way. That was a big note they made, is what's unfun. And while you're not going to see Appraiser, I think, be, the percentage of the metagame that would normally warrant a ban, they just feel like turn 3 is too fast to be winning a game, and I can understand that, right? So
Yeah.
I understand Ricky's mistrust because of what we're seeing actually happen to Modern, right? Oh, let's put our corporate profits into Modern, right? It over the health of the game. And so I do think that's happened, but
they're not afraid to ban poster board cards. Look, they banned Oko and Omnath.
Yeah. That being said, I am like you in that I am very hopeful, right? It sounds like they're hitting the cards I'm very happy or comfortable with them hitting. We'll see what the spicy unban potentially is that they're hinting at. But
and I when they talk about the process of like, well, we tap people to be format experts, and then they get a report to a wider group, and then we make with the wider group. Look, I wish having someone internally in-house do that is great, right? But I really just think that like the formats now kind of do need that community group that now even like Commander and now Pauper do have. I just think like I almost want to something like that. Like we can't just rely on the one person at the company to keep it on anymore because they're doing the regular job on top of that stuff. I feel like we need a smaller group as well to help advise.
They're not talking about it, but something big changed between now and September because we got tweets from people who were like, the metagame looks healthy. And I think it was fine. I think the metagame looks fine to me, but I still think that there were some cards that, again, were unfun, as Wizards puts it, that we've been asking about for a while, that are now all of a sudden weren't a problem in September when these decks were way higher win percentage. And now that they're not, they might risk looking a little silly doing this, given the lack of mono green's prevalence. However, there's still a certain 4-mana planeswalker that needs to go, but it's a very weird timing. So again, something big changed. Why would you ban it now and not when it was on top of it? Like,
again, I'm telling you, I think it is just because they weren't 100% behind it, and they just said, well, we're going to ban Discover. Why not take this opportunity to finally get Karn off the board?
I think
something way bigger happened.
I think what happened is definitely like
aliens.
Thank you, modern players, right? Yeah. Literally, thank you, modern players. Like the amount of like absolute
big thank you. Yeah.
True. Like
tantrums. I'm still not going to say it. I'll say it.
I'll say it. I'm the first one. Yeah.
With the whole no changes when literally everybody's playing scam, and Wizards still will not say the word scam.
Right.
They can't say it. It's illegal to say.
It is.
Look, the Wizards banned the deck named Bugs and Thugs because of the Thuggy cult. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I
think it's scam hits a little too close to home with maybe their,
I'll
stop there. There.
I'm going to plug a video I made that I feel like didn't get a lot of love. Go look up our Secretly Agreed is Good video that I put a lot of effort into.
All right, go ahead, Ricky. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's just like I think that the modern players really did raise like the roof, because the thing is like no changes on Pioneer at the last ban announcement. Do I want Karn gone? Yes. Do I think Fable would be interesting to get rid of? Yes, but I didn't think the format was in a bad place.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've never thought that the format, like ever since we've gotten out of the like inverter Heliod format, right?
Yep.
I don't think the format has been in a bad place since then.
No.
So I think personally that like we're on a roll. So like Pioneer really didn't need a lot of changes. And I see the Geological Appraiser deck and I go, yeah, that probably does need to stop. But it probably doesn't need to stop now. It just feels like they're kind of like we're gotten grouped in.
Ricky just wants free wins in a couple weeks.
Huh?
Ricky just wants free wins in a couple weeks.
It's true. It's absolutely true. Well, the thing is, like, I mean, I've been prepping against that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, it sucks to have your prep thrown out the window.
And like, as pointed out, like right now, specifically in our world, in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Card Kingdom is like a 12 to 14 day shipping window. Or sorry, TCG Player is a 12 to 14 day shipping window. Star City Games has like a 12-day shipping window, and like Card Kingdom is like, well, it's probably 5 days until we ship it, but we ship it when we ship it.
Yeah. I also, if Fire Streets needs cards, we're getting them. We're helping them out. We're hooking them. We're helping hook a brother up.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
but like,
of course.
No,
it's sort of like, it's sort of frustrating to like think of like.
No, I 100%. I agree with you 100%. I will say though that if it wasn't that technically RC Atlanta is out of the window when RC should have been. This weekend is technically, last week was technically the end of the RC schedule, but because of Dreamhack, America is taking place 3 weeks after that.
Right. And then also on top, like, it's just, I'm just frustrated because all I can do is sit here and just wait. Because, like, who knows? They talked a lot about Phoenix and about how good Phoenix is with sleight of hand. You never know. They could just be like, heck it, Treasure Cruise is out too. Why not, right? It's just like, I don't know what's going to happen, right? They could drop all the heavy-handed hints they want until it's in paper. I don't know what the format is going to look like at all.
Who knows? Sam Black. We need to.
The thing is, like,
Sam Black
just banning Karn, right? Like, let's just say all that happens is Geological Appraiser and Karn get banned.
Okay.
Karn getting banned unbans
so much
a whole bunch of artifact decks.
So let's talk about then. What do you think is going to happen? Real quickly before we talk about our predictions, let me read off our.
Also, real quick, what did they say about the unbans? Do you have a note on that?
And today
they just said like we're probably something along the lines of we're probably unbanning. So, like they something that's just like they just said like there are cards that have been on there that as the format and new cards have been added just aren't as strong as they were at the time. Okay. So
all they actually say in the stream, because I watched today because I wanted to hear it again, right? Is they say, while we're talking about bannings, we're also talking about potentially some unbannings too coming next week.
Yeah.
So they could unban nothing.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so like I said, we had about 100 people take our survey. So thank you to everyone who took the time to answer our quick little survey here. I said that we had 3 quick questions that were what cards we banned on Monday. I gave a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I gave just a small list of cards, and then said if whatever we said isn't on here, what do you think is going to get listed? And then I did the same thing with every banned card. I listed and said, what do you think will or if will be unbanned, if anything? So by far and away, 74% of answers, it's 87.1% of people who answered the survey said Karn. 73 said geological appraisal. It's 86% of the survey takers. At 10.6, even you had Quintorius and Trumpeting Carnosaur getting banned. Now, of course, these are multiples, so these could have selected multiple of these. I don't exactly have. I just know that like these are people who took the survey said these cards, right? We had 9% of survey takers said Fable.
Okay.
9.
Oh, okay.
9.4%. 5.9 said Greasefang and or Parhelion 2. Okay. 3.5% said Nykthos. And then about 10% said cards not listed. Those cards included, again, these are write-ins, so, Bart Simpson. Yeah, Bart Simpson, right. We had Plukernos, Treasure Cruise, Gleeful Demolition, Hidden Strings, Thing in the Ice all come up as possible bans.
Sure. Thing in the Ice is the wild one. Yeah. You gotta be that they played against Thing in the Ice 3 times that day and got obliterated every single time.
They also said Siege Rhino.
Okay, that was a shout out. Okay, yeah, shout out. Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
It's too good. It's too good.
It's too good. Yeah, clearly.
As for unbans, nothing broke 50%.
I was going to say, yeah. For unbans, this seems to have divided the community.
Yeah, for unbans, we had 42.4% of survey takers say Smuggler's Copter. 34.1 said nothing gets unbanned. 14.1 said Kethis. 10.6 said Ballista. 9.4 said Express Federation. And then under like 10%, right, we have 2.4 on Balustrade Spy. 1.2 on the Fetchlands and Felidar Guardian. 7.1 on the Field of the Dead, 4.7 on Inverter of Truth, 5.9 say Leyline of Abundance, 4.7 on Luris, 2.4 on Nexus, 1.2 on Oko. No one said Teferi or Once Upon a Time.
Oko was a meme, though. Oko was definitely a meme.
Yeah. 1 point, again, it's a survey, right? This is just what we have.
Yeah.
4.7 said Uro, 3.5 said Veil of Summer, 4.7 said Wilderness Reclamation, and 5.9 said Winota. And that's going to be all on screen if you're watching the video version.
So that's all people's pet cards once you're below 10%, right?
Yeah, 100%, right? Honestly, I'm kind of surprised Kethis isn't a higher percentage. So let's do we want to talk unbans first, or do we want to talk bans first?
Let's talk unbans first. Let's get the spiciness out of the way.
All right. So if they for sure said one card is getting unbanned, like if there was a for sure card getting unbanned, my picks would be for sure number one is Kethis. I hate saying that because I do not like that deck. I think that deck is watching people struggle to play that deck is worse than people playing Eggs in Modern. I just think that combo decks have kind of evolved past that Kethis being kind of relevant. I think sure it could make a new deck, but I'm not that worried about it. I just don't want to waste my time watching my opponent struggle to play Kethis combo. Then, like everyone else, I also bought my battle buses in case they screw up on a Bancopter.
Yeah.
You want to go, Chris, or do you want me to go?
I could give a lecture on this. I have thought a lot about this. I have tabs open on the cards and why they can or can't be unbanned, right? Like you can't unban Wilderness Reclamation in a format with Lotus Field. Like you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like it is not an option, right? Like that would be too powerful, right? And maybe they choose to, but that to me is like some of the craziness. And unfortunately, some of the lands that have been printed since then, same thing. Like you can't bring back, unfortunately, Field of the Dead because there's triumphs, right? There's already decks that are just doing that anyway and are just doing stupid stuff. The land of the Field of the Dead is just like stronger, way stronger than it was, right? So again, I think that the only safe one, and I have the announcement up from banning the combo decks, is Kethis. This is the only card that I'm not telling you that they're 100% gonna do it, but the only card that I think is safe is Kethis because the combo was so dirtily.
Yep.
They were just hitting, if you don't remember, you can go back and read this announcement. They do talk about, and all they say is, while Kethis combo decks are relatively new reemergence in the metagame, we're seeing signs that these decks are already problematic and would become more so if other top decks were weakened. This was all based on theory. They're currently among the top 5-0 trophy winners. That's it, despite being a modest portion of the field. And this was really one of those, Kethis was catching strays. Right? Kethis was not the problem. They basically made an announcement or two in a row, if you followed Pioneer like we do every single week, that said, Inverted of Truth isn't a problem. Right? Yeah. And in this announcement, they say, hey, even though the data does not reflect that Inverted of Truth needs to be banned, the Pioneer play experiences is, quote, unenjoyable, and less people are playing the game. So what they said was, and we talked a lot about this back on our old episodes, right? We were happy because, like, hey, you got Inverter, that's fine, right? But we said at the time, Walking Ballista and Kethis were the ones catching strays there, right? They didn't necessarily need to be banned, but they were things where they said, they literally threw their hands up and said, hey, you guys don't like combo? Fine, we'll ban combo. Basically, they said, we're going to reduce the instances where players risk losing to a combo kill when tapping out in the early to mid game, right? Where you just wake up dead, basically. So this is the card that I think makes the most sense to me, just based on the ban philosophy at the time. Now, there could be something out there that I'm not thinking of where Kethis is just way too overpowered, but just based on the, hey, what card, all these cards have probably gotten better because there's so many more cards out, but this is a card that was, again...
We already have these weird, like, Rona loop strategies. It's just like, I don't think Kethis...
Is Kethis really a problem? Right. And again, the whole reason I'm picking this is that this is something that was not a targeted ban in the first place. It was just something where we're stopping combo decks, so Kethis has to go. Yeah, that's what the announcement was. So if you
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you because I think they also say, like, when we look at unbanned cards, you think about how the format has gotten more stronger over time. I just think, again, the Kethis deck, will it see play? Probably. People love that card. I just think the deck is too dirtily, and it's just like, I just don't
So again, just on topic of safe unbans, Ricky, you got a spicy one.
Yeah, you got some wrong ones.
Let me tell you, I think you guys are lovely co-hosts, but I definitely think you guys are wrong.
Can you get the door ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are wrong on this, right?
I've got the tent ready out in the alley.
You know, I think it's very funny that Chris made his name Unbank This for this episode, you know. Because he's going to take all of his money out of the bank and pay me.
It's unban Kethis. That's what
it's Unbank This.
If you add an E in there, sure.
That's how you spell bank in the 1900s.
Okay, I see. It's got the British E, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see.
Right. Yeah. This is a real problem in Historic, which is arena dateable. And on top of that, not saying that every card in Historic is legal.
There's a lot of things in Historic that do not mesh with.
For sure. You're absolutely right. But they have data on this card being kind of problematic, probably already on a Historic watch list, but it's being held back because of there's cards like, the Ring. But that being said, this card has only gotten better. Like Plaza of Heroes has been printed. There are now legendary lands you can dump into the yard that you can use to activate the Kethis, right? Sure. And it says each legendary card, so you can play like Besage out of your graveyard if you want to. Like it's just like random other plays that weren't relevant before that can be made. I think this card is very powerful right now.
Do you think that it's more powerful than Amalia combo?
So I could see it being probably more powerful than Amalia combo, but what I mostly see it as being is more dirtily.
Yes.
Like wasting clock time.
Again, it is just
you can easily
Pioneer eggs.
In paper.
Pioneer eggs.
In paper, you can easily win game 1 with Kethis and chew through at least like 30 to 32 minutes of clock if you want to, without even being called for slow play. You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah. So because of that, I think that the Kethis deck is not going to be great for Pioneer. I think it is the closest runner-up to a card that could be unbanned.
Okay. I have a lot to say on other cards.
Sure. I'm going to tell you what
you have got a spicy bet going on.
I think that Leyline of Abundance.
There is no shot.
Listen to me. You have to listen to me.
I'm listening.
All right. I'm going to you put that collector booster in my hand.
Leyline of Abundance is a card that costs 4 mana. It's free if it's in your opening hand, right?
You just don't skip over that, please. Don't skip over that.
It's like 4 mana.
You cost 4 mana. Wow. That's so much. Okay. That's so much mana, Ricky.
It makes your elves tap for 2 mana, which is huge. Massive.
Yeah.
It does not increase any other mana, only creature mana. So your Wolfwillow Haven does not tap for extra mana like a card like Kinian would make happen, right? Your Mox Amber will not tap for extra mana. Just your creatures tap for extra mana. I can easily see wanting to remove Karn from mono green, but not wanting to kill mono green as a deck.
I think mono green will still exist just if we just take Karn out of it.
I agree, but I think that they can see unbanning this card to like allow this card to slot in for the Karn, and then you build a real sideboard, right? And now the Llanowar Elf is still very, very dangerous, and even more so if they have this in their opener. But it's not unbeatable. Like, it is still the Elf check on turn 1, but like now in like an extra 28% of games where they have this Leyline in their opening hand, that Elf check is like huge, right?
But here's what you aren't considering. We have a card that is not in mono green, where we look at a card called Tyvar, and now all of our Manworks are coming down with pseudo haste, and we're powering out some ridiculous bullcrap.
Sure.
This whole conversation reminds me of the fact that the CIA in the 60s and 70s were secretly slipping LSD to many of their agents. And this is just a great time to remind everybody,
guys,
this fact.
I'm telling you that this card, I think that this card is very, very possibly the unbanned target. Yeah. I think that literally I've been cycling through this. I've been thinking about it all day yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I think that one, Smuggler's
in between
Copter,
seeing all the purple sparkles and red rainbows,
worst card to unban.
Like if Smuggler's Cup gets unbanned, baby, I'm like, we're all in on Inti. We're making it happen, Captain. Like
I'm just saying, like it would be so bad to unban Smuggler's Copter.
So
It's
here's
too,
a world.
Yeah, here's my thing.
I don't think Captus is going to be a good unban.
When I bought my battle buses, I didn't buy them saying they're unbanning Smuggler's Copter. I bought them saying if Wizards is dumb and unban Smuggler's Copter.
Right.
And you guys wonder why I hated the announcement. You're like, oh, give Wizards a chance. Anyways, I bought battle buses in case Wizards don't know what they're doing because I'm just playing FNMs. I don't have to go to the RRC.
Hey, listen. I want to say that I can see a world where Leyline Abundance gets unbanned.
Yes.
I can see that world. That world is Monday, where they say, we've banned Karn the Great Creator. We banned Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. We banned Llanowar Elf, right?
I don't think
when those three things happen, they will then come out and say,
I think you guys are
unbanned Leyline of Abundance. You cannot have a free double green pip exist with Nykthos. I think that's the problem. Otherwise,
it already exists.
What's that?
It already exists. There's like 2 ley lines in Pioneer, right?
There's another green one?
There's like 2 sets of ley lines, right? It's not a good card. It's like the +1 toughness and
it's like the token.
Oh, like the Ravnica one or something like that.
It gives like your tokens +1/+1, right?
It's it gives your creatures +0/+1, and whenever a creature comes into play, you gain a life.
I would tell you that my creatures tap for double mana is a much stronger effect.
No, for sure. But you were just arguing that free double green pips is the reason why we can't have it.
It's most of the reason. It's most of the reason. You're not just going to discard a card for potentially double green pips. You will play that card if it also makes your creatures tap for double mana, right? Doesn't the card have other effects too?
Right. It does have other effects. For 8 mana, you can put a 1 counter on each creature you control.
On each creature you control. Right. And thankfully, there's not an excess of mana lying around in our mono green decks, right?
Right. What I'm saying is I think that the mono green deck, without the combo, needs to beat down. And I think that it's going to need a card like this to continue to be as relevant as it is.
Does it? I mean, like
it's just irrelevant, right?
It's gonna go back to being like Voron collects Vivian, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I think that this card would be interesting to see back, and I don't think it would be actually as good as.
I think it's a hot take. I think it's a cool take, Ricky. Again, I could see it. I think they'd have to ban Nykthos. That's my honest take on it.
I just think that you guys are obsessed with this card being in the opening hand like every game, and I just don't think that's going to happen. And if you're going to mulligan to it, you're going to like end up so far behind.
Because the new mulligan, the first mulligan is like nearly free now with how it works. Like I think you can easily do this.
I mean, there's a whole combo deck built around having a card in your opening hand right now, right? Like if you have an appraiser, you're playing it early, right? You don't do much digging for that.
Are you kidding?
I just don't think it's that
playing terrible lands like Crystal Grotto to like dig for this appraiser.
And Sprite lands, but you can usually hit it, right? I mean, you can get fanged also pretty early. So I think it's more common than you think, especially with mulligans, right? I don't see the deck not playing it, like, you know what I'm saying? And I do
think right now in mono green, if your opponent goes on the play elf pass and you don't have a way to answer that elf, you're probably going to lose the game, right? Like it's a good chance that you're going to lose the game. And I'm pretty sure if you did the math on it and checked like unanswered turn 1 elf on the play in mono green, the win rate of that is probably really high. And
you're still not beating a lot of the combo decks that are faster than you is the problem. And there's again some right now that are going to go away. Absolutely.
Geological Appraiser, which is not a deck apparently.
Right. Here's my thing, right? Like with Leyline of Abundance, now we can easily hit a play that is just like Forest Elf go on my turn, tap Forest, Willful Haven on my first Forest. Now we have our third land. Now we've Wolf Willowed and played an Old Growth Troll on turn 2. Like,
I mean, the deck was incredibly powerful. The deck got to play Leyline Abundance for like a week. It didn't start off on the ban list, I don't think.
No, for sure.
Before the deck was playing Karn. I mean, sure, it's playing like Ballista still, but like,
yeah, I think it's pretty strong. What do you guys think? So, Looter Scooter. That's the other card that people are thinking is like.
I think a card better not come off the list.
I agree. That's again my statement of if they're dumb and unban Looter Scooter, I'm playing battle buses.
I think the only other card, like it's like Kethis. I really want Wilderness Wreck. Like, let me tell you, I want Wilderness Wreck. It can't happen.
Yeah,
I
I
think
understand it can't
I
happen.
also want that card, but
yeah.
It's not because of Lotus Field.
I think it is. I think you're crazy. I think it is.
I literally think just turn 4 Wilderness Reclamation, untap my lands is insane.
That is of course incredibly strong.
You remember the Wilderness Reclamation deck did not play Lotus Field back when it was legal, and the Wilderness Reclamation deck was a top tier deck. While Teferi, the deck, like literally just playing Teferi, ends you lose like as the Wilderness Reclamation player, like you were just done.
I think once people realize how Wilderness Reclamation works and how it doubles your mana at end step, like I think that really
Right.
Well, the thing is, it's a trigger, right? So, like, you tap all your mana, the first one goes off, you untap, you tap again, right? That's the problem. Is multiple.
It doubles your mana at end step.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like there's already a card that does that. But that card also makes it so that I have to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And can't actually play Instance anymore.
Yeah.
You know? But I think that like Wilderness Wreck can't come off. I think the only other option
Yu-Gi-Oh! Has Instance.
I think Kethis could happen, but I don't think it should. I think Leyline is the most optimal, and I think that Luris could come off.
I can see Luris.
Because like factual, what happens if you unban Luris? Like people play auras.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that we've come to a point now, especially like things like Leyline, Beanstalk, and like all these other like weird expensive cards, right?
Yeah.
That like I don't think Luris is like that great.
You have decks like Humans which have to debate on Luris or Adeline, and I think Adeline still wins, right? Like
yeah. Like the other Humans deck, like are you gonna play Luris or are you gonna play like all the good 3-drops that you're playing the deck for?
Yeah.
Like maybe we see like that weird red-black Luris deck come back.
Sure.
Rakdos, yeah. But that deck was fun.
Yeah.
I think Luris, Kethis, and Leyline.
Yeah, for sure.
And Leyline makes the most sense to me because they're going to be nerfing.
I think it's going to be Kethis, and I don't want to be Kethis for the same reasons you also complain about it, where it's just like people are just going to eat up the time. Again, I stand by it. It's just Pioneer eggs, and it's just, God, I hate it. I hate it so much.
Also, if a 4-mana 4/4 that wins the game if you have no interaction is too good, and a 3-mana 3/2 wins the game if you have no interaction is too good, how is a 3-mana 3/4 that wins the game if you have no interaction going to be like, oh, this is fine?
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll do that. Let's
Looter Scooter, real quick, because it was a popular one. Like the big problem with that is its ubiquity, right? Like the thing is, we talked about this a lot, so it may not be worth going into too much more.
Modern players don't know what the word ubiquity means.
Yeah.
Yeah, their whole point is ubiquitous.
It's kind of a big word, and they're like, I don't know, Modern Horizons 2. That's the only word they speak, so you know.
Yeah, all I know is that I'm playing Fury, my opponent's playing Fury, and the guy who wrote this playing Fury, but we're all on different decks.
Yeah.
Looter Scooter, again, it stops being interesting when like every deck is playing it. It's like I understand the like, oh, this card isn't that powerful. It didn't get banned because it was that powerful. Again, it went a while without being banned. It was more that every deck was going to play it, right? Not just mono black, mono red.
Yeah, that was the thing, right? Is people wanted to say like, well, mono black just really leverage it into a way of just, I mean, yes, mono black was the best Looter Scooter deck list, but when every aggro deck is playing Looter Scooter,
right now, Inti's a big deal. Like Inti's going to be a big thing with that.
Inti Looter Scooter would just.
So they could do it, but again, I think that we would go right back to it. Depends on if their format shifted on that. Because before the philosophy was, hey, if every deck has to play it, then it's not what we want, right? It's too strong, you know. The reason we don't make colorless cards that strong usually. So
all right, so now comes the time. What's getting the axe? What is
that's easy?
Karn Razor.
Easy.
Anything else?
I hope not.
Real question.
This is what I have to hope for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like anything else, and I've got to just monk away for like the rest of the like week.
Yeah.
You know, move to the Himalayas, sit under a waterfall while also
Doomsday
playing Phoenix. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is weird because these bans aren't being made because the cards are too, you know, prevalent in the metagame, right?
Did you
Like
see the?
if this was earlier in the year, that could have been the argument. We're now making these bans based on what's fun and unfun, And
Right.
again, they're saying, hey, turn 3 is too fast to die. Even if you're hating it out, right? Even if it just all it takes is any kill
And,
spell.
and I hate to say it, but I mean that's what made me worry about like does Greasefang fall into that, right? Like
Yeah.
so many people complained about like, well, I just tapped out. My opponent had turn 3 Greasefang and I got Parhelion.
Well, to be fair, that requires two pieces. Appraiser just you just have to
No,
cast.
I again, I don't want to down.
I hear you.
I'm not trying to downplay. I'm not trying to speak semantics on what goes into them winning. I am just saying enough people complained about I lose the turn 3 Greasefang, right?
Turn 3 win. Yes,
You have to be careful with that.
true.
Well,
True. Will they do it?
I've been getting ranched by Greasefang recently,
Sure.
but not from Greasefang. I say the turn 1 Stitcher Supplier, turn 2 sack Stitcher Supplier for Souls of the Forgotten.
Ooh.
I have a 6/7 in play on turn 2. That's been getting me. So let's ban that because I don't like that. That's not fun to me, right?
Fair enough.
And that's in fact my problem with banning things on fun because it's not fun when I lose.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever lost in Arena, gotten the "Did you have fun" and like clicked the smile?
Yes, I did.
Certainly.
No way! Don't
Absolutely.
lie.
Come on. You're being ridiculous. You're turning into the modern players that you swore to
Right.
to turn against.
Together, you is for you.
I don't think
for nuclear bombs.
I think I always click the smile if I win, click the frown if I lost.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The problem is they never give it to you on like, oh man, that was a real back and forth match. They give it to you on the I just got coughing babied on.
I didn't draw lands or drew only lands for 6 turns in a row. Right? Yeah, those are the ones I get it on. So yeah,
they know. They know when you get that question.
They know.
Right.
They know. All right, we're an hour 22, y'all.
All right.
Yeah. Well, it's a big episode.
That's a big episode, Chris.
Big episode.
Chris is gonna go take big sleepies.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's pretty safe to say for sure. Karn, Appraiser. I think we leave Quintorius, right? I mean, if you want to look at some of the metrics, the matrices they have here, as Dex posted, the matchup matrix for Japan and Korea, and Quintorius had a 38% win rate on the weekend. Of course, it was dropped from their combined when they added the. It's not in the South American and the face-to-face one, but it looks like Quintorius really got hated out in Japan. I mean, the turn definitely does make a difference I think also open decklist does matter a lot in these matchups too.
Yeah.
So
open decklist matters way more, and I hope that's something that they consider. Is like I'm fine with them doing this because again, I think that it's probably a wise ban, even though I was the first one saying, "Hey, you can kill it super easily." Again, I've been farming the decks, and so I've been on the team farm those decks versus play them. But I do understand the philosophy, so hopefully, and I do like them taking action, so I don't want them to kind of back up on it. I guess is my thing.
I
think Karn's a great ban.
Win rate of Is It Phoenix versus Quintorius combo.
What are you happy with if they ban? Like, is there a ban because like my happy ban, right? That did a great job like what I did before is Karn Appraiser. I think that's a good ban list. I'm happy with that ban list. I got what I wanted for Christmas.
My happy ban list is Karn Appraiser, no unbans.
Do you think Fable gets swept up in this as well? Finally,
I think it could. Like, I don't know.
I can't imagine. I don't know that breaks their fun barrier, right? If we're doing this based on, hey, what's healthy for the format, like, again, I don't think it has the ubiquity that Looter Scooter has. Yeah. I don't think it has the thing. I think it's pretty much fallen out of relevance, and I don't see where it's like, oh, it's just a strong card, like Shieldred, right? It's a strong card. It doesn't create terrible gameplay patterns, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean,
what's your happiness list?
I mean, I think I'm the same boat as you guys. I mean, Karn, Appraiser, go. Probably no unbans, but
there's not an unban I'm excited about.
There's not an unban I'm excited about just because like if Kethis comes off right, like oh god, I don't want to sit there anymore. Like that's the one thing I hate again with the Duraldex is just like I know I'm going to lose, but I'm not going to concede because like you could just fumble, bud. Like, and I'm not going to let that drop. Right.
I want them to unban only Scalding Tarn so I can have fun for like 6 weeks before they realize that was a terrible mistake.
Scalding Tarn is in the format.
What's that?
It's not in the
Scalding
format.
Tarn's not legal.
Oh, it's not one of the fetches that they printed at some point?
It's a cons fetch. It's not a cons fetch.
Oh, no.
Only the cons fetches are legal.
Oh, all right. Flooded Strand?
Flooded Strand.
Okay, sounds good.
Like, I would have fun with Smuggler's Copter until I started hating it in every deck list.
Yeah.
I would do gross things with Smuggler's Copter. But, yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I'm not trying to say, like, the Pioneer ban list is sacred, but just, like, I don't think anything needs to come off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are there cards I think can come off? Yes. Kethis being the biggest one. I think Luris is probably
Luris. We were pretty like, really, what is Luris doing once the errata happened? Right?
At the time Luris was out, right, and it was like pre-errata, I think the thing with Luris being so dominant was it just helped push you to make good deck building decisions. And now there are cards that give you actual reasons to question playing Luris.
Yeah.
So,
to be fair, we just made an argument about ubiquity, and the problem with Luris was like you would just make the 2 changes to play Luris and just have the Luris, right? Like I think that's the problem. Is it was really just limiting deck building choices. I don't know that it was too strong, but again, I'm not happy with the Luris unban. I could see if they did it, but I really think that again, it's just like Looter Scooter and the problem that the reason we were pro ban in the first place. Every aggro deck was just playing it just because. It was just like, oh, well, I don't want to play any 3s. And now we live in a world where like, oh, well, we're going to play Convoke because, whatever.
I will say that no matter what happens when the list goes up on Monday, we'll be in the Discord discussing with everyone. And I would assume if stuff really goes crazy and shakes out, we'll probably have an early episode next week just to really kind of break things down. But we'll be talking about stuff in the Discord with everyone. I'd like to be there when it goes live, but I'll be working. So what I might do is I might kind of quickly, because I'll be at lunch probably when that list comes out. So I might just kind of like live stream my reaction from my phone in the parking lot or whatever.
I might be off work that in the morning. I think I have to go on later.
But I'll do MBT reading the Yu-Gi-Oh ban list at the YCS.
Gentlemen, I think that there's been a lot of heated debate today.
Yeah.
So I think we need to quickly cool off with a surprise Does It Slap coming from 313th place in the Canadian RC.
Okay.
Gentlemen, Jackie Butt would like to know, does this slap?
What is this deck list? 313th place. Oh, is this just... This is Dreadnought? Yeah. George Bush did 7-11.
Vehicles.
4 Hotshot Mechanic, 3... Sorry, hold on. I have to make it official. Alright, 4 Hotshot Mechanic, 3 Toolcraft Exemplar, 4 Giant Ox, 4 Ingenious Smith, 1 Stram Senior Edificer, 1 Armed and Armored, 4 Get Lost, 2 Kai's Reconstruction, 4 Console Dreadnought, 4 Colossal Plow, 1 Rector Bankbuster, 1 Licensed Hearse, 1 Imperial Recovery Unit, 3 Peace Walker Colossus, 1 Fleet Wheel Cruiser, 1 Sky Sovereign of Console Flagship. This is a player who's be really happy when Karn gets banned.
Yeah. Like, imagine if they were playing next RC, right?
Yeah.
This deck? Come on. This deck? Amazing.
Yeah. Look, if Karn gets banned, I'll go pick up my full Dreadnoughts.
I'm just saying, like, we're playing Giant Ox Plow,
Yeah. Look, I will say, I'm taking the deck back. We're taking the deck back from MTG Goldfish and Sapphire. I'm trying to call this Mr. Plow because, look, we're above Simpsons references. This is Yacht Club far and away.
And Armed and Armored is a card that is one of those set booster exclusive cards that is technically standard legal. So that is a real card you can play in Pioneer.
It's from Kaldheim. What was Kaldheim originally, right?
Yeah. 2 mana at instant speed, make your vehicles all men.
Creatures.
This deck is sick. I commend anybody trying to play this hotness in Pioneer at the RC. And for that reason, I'm going to have to give this a perfect 6 power that Giant Ox cruise for
Nice.
6 toughness.
I mean, I'm giving this an 11 out of 7.
Woo!
For the
11
Colossal
out of
Colossal
7.
Dread Knight?
Yeah.
Consulate Dreadnought? I'm gonna give this a 2 out of the 4 power that Hotshot Mechanic cruise for.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
All right. Well, of course, that would do for this episode. Like I said, we'll be back probably early next week following the ban list announcement, but do join us in the Discord. Links to join the Discord are always below. This show is sponsored by our support Patreon, patreon.com/crew3mtg. We have several tiers available. Of course, all of them do get access to our Patreon channels in our Discord. They each also just have different tiers of rewards available for exclusive content all the way to swag bags that I send out with cool, fun cards that I curate every month that are Pioneer relevant in some way, shape, or form. And then, of course, everyone does get to have access to the Patreon channel and the mailbag where everyone can ask a question. I'm going to skip ahead a couple people. I'm sorry, I'm going to skip ahead a couple questions because I think this is very relevant. We're going to skip ahead to Rancor, who asks, if Karn is banned, what artifacts activate ability are you most excited about in Pioneer? Slam Dunk Oni Cult Anvil.
I'm going to say the Black Staff of Waterdeep.
I think that might be my answer also.
Yeah, it is.
I would tell you that the real answer, although it hasn't been relevant for a minute, is the new equip abilities on the artifacts we're getting for Scissors. So not just the Black Staff, but the more relevant ones are like the Dire Flail and the Diamond Pickaxe, things like that we're throwing equipments on. Those are probably some of the main ones, but hey, there's cauldrons, there's all kinds of stuff, right? Treasures.
Yeah.
Just treasures, yeah.
Treasures is an answer.
Does Karn stop treasures because it's a mana ability?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Activated abilities.
Karn is everything, yeah, that's right.
It stops your
treasure vault
indestructible land from tapping for mana.
Citadel, yeah. That's what I'm most excited about, tapping my Darksteel Citadel for mana.
yeah.
Springleaf Drum, yeah.
Well, that will do it for this week, gentlemen. I want to thank you for joining me. And I want to thank everyone for listening in to the show, tuning in week out. And, of course, thank you to everyone for Patreon. Patreon.com/Crew3MTG. Gentlemen, where can people find you on the socials?
Hey, you can find me on the x.coms under my real name. I don't use a performer name on that website, Chris Klein, but my @ is its_Christmas.
You can find me on Twitter under my stage name, @also Steve.
That's true, yeah.
I'm out there plowing away at all sorts of manner of nonsense. So give me a follow and help me, take over x.com.
All right, you can find me at Crew3 Podcast over on Twitter, and of course posting things like we're back to having the video podcast going up. I'm going to try to get them out on the weekend. If not, usually we'll be up by Monday. I'm just trying to get them a little better at being as relevant and close to the audio drop of the podcast as possible. Also coming up soon, we'll be having video content go to Patreon ahead of coming to YouTube. And then, of course, Ricky is going to start streaming on the occasional Wednesday evenings. And then I'm going to start streaming here the next few weeks on Sunday morning/afternoons for a few hours. So we got a lot of content coming out. So be sure to check into twitch.tv/Crew3MTG. And VODs are going to go up on youtube.com/Crew3MTG there as well. And of course, if you're listening to this this weekend, I will have finally the wrestling stream and our Magic playing from Extra Life up there as well. And of course, in a mix through those is Chris's amazing pack openings as well. So be sure to watch it and tune in for that. We will talk to you all next week. Bye.
Bye.